On September 23, 2024, the Israel-Lebanon border witnessed a brutal escalation of violence, marking the deadliest attacks on Lebanon since its civil war. But beyond the military strikes, questions of war crimes and civilian suffering have dominated global headlines. In this video, we break down the recent developments, analyze the war crimes accusations against Israel, and reflect on the broader consequences for the region. The latest flare-up began on September 23, 2024, when Israel launched an intensive aerial campaign against Hezbollah positions in Lebanon. In just 48 hours, over 1,500 Hezbollah targets were hit, resulting in the deaths of more than 569 people, including 50 children, 94 women, and 4 medics. The strikes also displaced over 90,000 Lebanese civilians, according to Lebanon's health ministry. Israel claims the strikes were a response to Hezbollah rocket attacks and drone launches into northern Israel. However, the scale and intensity of the strikes have raised concerns that Israel's actions go far beyond self-defense. The sheer number of civilian casualties has brought the issue of war crimes into sharp focus. Under international law, military actions that disproportionately harm civilians or target civilian infrastructure can be considered war crimes. Several human rights organizations, including Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch, have accused Israel of violating these principles by carrying out indiscriminate airstrikes that have killed hundreds of civilians. The destruction of civilian buildings, homes, schools, and hospitals suggests that many of these targets were not purely military in nature. Lebanon's government and international observers have condemned the Israeli strikes, calling for an immediate investigation into potential violations of international humanitarian law. From Israel's perspective, these strikes were a necessary act of self-defense. Israeli officials have emphasized that Hezbollah has continued to amass weapons near the border and has launched dozens of rockets and drones into northern Israel, hitting civilian areas like Nazareth and Kiryat Shmona. The Israel Defense Forces, IDF, argue that Hezbollah is embedding military assets in civilian areas, forcing Israel to carry out these strikes. While Israel claims that it takes precautions to avoid civilian casualties, critics argue that the use of heavy air power in densely populated areas makes such claims difficult to believe. As Israel continues its military campaign, the number of innocent victims continues to rise. Lebanon, already weakened by economic collapse and political instability, finds itself once again facing devastation. Lebanese officials have condemned Israel's strikes, accusing the country of deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure to punish Hezbollah's stronghold in southern Lebanon. The Lebanese people are the ones paying the highest price. Thousands of families have been displaced, and critical infrastructure like power plants and hospitals has been reduced to rubble. For many, it feels like 2006 all over again, only this time, Lebanon is far less equipped to rebuild. At the center of the conflict is Hezbollah, the powerful Lebanese militant group backed by Iran. Since its creation, Hezbollah has positioned itself as the resistance force against Israeli occupation and influence in Lebanon. However, its military buildup has drawn repeated Israeli strikes, placing Lebanon in a constant state of conflict. While Hezbollah has launched its own retaliatory strikes into Israel, its actions have prompted even harsher Israeli responses, drawing Lebanon into a cycle of violence that has become increasingly difficult to break. Iran's backing of Hezbollah further complicates the situation, turning what could be a local conflict into a potential regional war. The international community has reacted with alarm to the escalating violence. The United Nations and humanitarian organizations have called for an immediate ceasefire, while countries like France and Russia have expressed strong condemnation of the civilian deaths in Lebanon. The United States, while acknowledging Israel's right to defend itself, has also urged restraint and is encouraging both sides to de-escalate. But calls for diplomacy have so far fallen on deaf ears, as the fighting shows no signs of slowing down. The human cost of this conflict is undeniable. Over 569 people have been killed, including 50 children. The stories of these victims paint a tragic picture of a country caught in the crossfire of a much larger power struggle. As the death toll rises, the question must be asked: are these deaths truly unavoidable, or are they the result of indiscriminate violence carried out in the name of military objectives? The answer will shape how the world views this conflict in the days to come. The Israel-Lebanon conflict of 2024 is a tragedy on many levels. While both sides claim to act in self-defense, the civilian toll and accusations of war crimes cast a dark shadow over the events. As calls for justice grow louder, it is imperative that international bodies step in to investigate and hold those responsible accountable. As the world watches, the hope is that this conflict does not spiral into a larger regional war, but rather that diplomatic solutions are found. What do you think? Is there a path to peace, or is more violence inevitable? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And that brings us to the end of today's deep dive into the Israel-Lebanon conflict of 2024. We hope this video has helped shed light on the situation, the human toll, and the serious accusations of war crimes. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Escape Files. For more in-depth stories on global conflicts, war, and crime, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update on our latest content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.